So anyway, on to the meat and potatoes of the day. Really, I just want to talk about a couple issues I saw in the news this morning. First we'll start with the Fort Worth police officer who is going to be charged with murder for the negligent discharge of his firearm that resulted in a young woman's death. Um, all around sad situation. I wish it hadn't happened. Family lost a daughter and an aunt, and just a all around sad situation. His family lost a father and a son. I would say keep them both in your prayers. He did wrong, and he'll pay for it. I don't think he meant to shoot her on purpose, um, but it happened. And I think this is a good example of how, yes, law enforcement does clean house. Law enforcement does step up and punish its own for doing wrong. The misconception that it doesn't is problematic at best. So, moving on from that, though. So, apparently, these impeachment proceedings are to be confidential and private, and nobody but committee members are to attend because the Democrats say so. Where's my problem with that? A thousandth of the population is trying to unseat a duly elected president in secrecy and refusing to answer any questions about it or allow oversight of the procedure. Their claim is that these whistleblowers deserve confidentiality and to not have their lives drug out and made a public spectacle. Okay, so why didn't Brett Kavanaugh deserve the same respect? They drugged that man through the sewer. They allowed every liberal prostitute they could possibly find to sit in the gallery and heckle and throw things and say terrible things and yell terrible things at his wife and children and anybody they could. He didn't deserve that level of respect, but these whistleblowers do. What does that tell you? It's a sad, pathetic thing. And really, this whole impeachment thing, when House Democrats are asked about it, especially, Shifty Schiff, his response was, when asked, well, what are your reasons for impeaching the president? His responses were, well, you're just going to have to let us impeach him to find out. That is like the equivalent of your 13-year-old coming in and saying, I need more allowance, Dad. And then saying, if you give it to me, I'll tell you why. Come on. And the whole thing about it is, the reason they're trying to impeach is they know the next primaries coming up are not going to go well for them. They're not. On top of that, the 2020 election is going to be ugly. They don't have anyone who can compete with Trump. Now, I'm not a Trumpeteer. I will admit he's done good things, but I'll tell you just as many bad things he's done. But no politician's perfect. You kind of have to take the good with the bad. That's just the way it is. I don't like that he's been wishy-washy on the Second Amendment and has definitely infringed on it a number of times. I don't like that Hillary Clinton is still free because he promised us she'd go to jail. He promised us that. Never happened. The wall's happening though. Positive. Highest GDP in generations. Minority unemployment is down. The economy is doing great. He's the first president to stand up and say organized baby murder is wrong. I mean, he has his good and his bad side. And Democrats know they have nothing that can compete with him. Nothing. Kamala Harris has no credibility. Beto O'Rourke is a really bad joke. Like a bad joke. Like Uncle Joe had too much eggnog at Christmas and started making fun of Grandma joke. Yeah, that bad. And then there's Joe Biden. Creepy Uncle Joe. Nobody wants a pedophile for the president. Not to mention the fact that the man can't remember one sentence to the next. He clearly has some serious health issues. And at his age, it's to be expected. This is the thing about Joe Biden. He is the utility candidate. Joe Biden will do anything to be part of the team. That's his thing. I lived in Pennsylvania for a while, in Scranton, Joe Biden's hometown. And when Biden and Hillary went through there, talking about how they were going to put coal miners out of work. Yeah, went through northeastern Pennsylvania, telling them they're going to put coal miners out of work, and they wonder why Trump won that area. Come on. Anyway, when Biden was young, he wasn't a real popular kid. He was kind of weird. And he didn't really fit in. And apparently his parents took him out, he tried out for the baseball team. And he was good at baseball. So he got his baseball uniform and he put it on. And he was so happy to be part of something that he didn't take it off for like a week. He wore it to school, to church, out shopping with his mom. He wore that uniform everywhere because he felt accepted and he felt valid. And as long as Democrats are telling him that you're full of great ideas, Joe, but why don't we do this too? Just to be part of the club, he's going to do it. Whether or not he really believes it, but most of it he does, by the way. He's going to do it. And then, on that note, his son came out and did an interview today with Good Morning America. And it was really funny because he, of course, said his dad didn't do anything for him and that there was no quid pro quo and all that good stuff. And he said that his dad told him just to be careful in his dealings with Ukraine and China and all that. And then the gal from Good Morning America says, when you go to sleep at night, is Donald Trump your last thought and the first thought you have in the morning? And he was like, no, I really don't give him a second thought. We're not like him. We're not a dynasty family. We're not like the Kennedys. And then he says, I shit you not, we're better than Trump. My father doesn't target children. Well, clearly, Hunter, the tape says you're lying. Because your creepy pedophile dad targets children like nobody I know. Yeah. And that's just a handful of what's going on out there today. I mean, Congress is trying to push the Blair Holt Act through. If you don't know what that is, I invite you to go to congress.gov and look it up. It's one of the many gun bills that are trying to push registration, which, as I've spoken to you in the past about, happened during the Weimar Republic, and eventually the Nazis used it to take people's guns away. Registration is the first step in taking people's guns away. You can't take something if you don't know where it's at. So I would encourage you to go and look up the Blair Holt Act on congress.gov and call your local congressman and tell him, no, thank you. I tell you, this impeachment, this next election, our country's changing in a fundamental way that can't be avoided. After this election, we're not going to be the same country we were last year. A lot's going to change. Whether it's we win and the left goes crazy, or the left wins and we go crazy, there's no way This is going to end well, period. I hope for the best. I don't want to see fighting break out, but the likelihood is that it is. Me personally, I want to say there's no way any of us should stand here and watch our president be impeached. He has done nothing wrong. Nothing. Even if he's done some things that are questionable, they don't touch a shadow of what Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Eric Holder did. You couldn't scrub for a month and wash the blood off their hands. I don't like everything he's done, but at the end of the day, Donald Trump's come into that office and he largely worked to make the world a better place. So I want to encourage you, at the end of the day, to resist impeachment, period. Let your congressman know this is our president and that's not going to change. Let your senators know this is our president and that's not going to change. No matter what. And if they say put it to a vote, tell them point blank, I vote no. Because that's the way the founding fathers set it up to be. Y'all be decent to each other. We're all in this together. God bless.